Oh my goodness. Infinity, John, Philip, Don, Everett, Sergio, Anthony, Nikki, John, Goose, Nikki. Glad to have everybody. And you just have one of those mornings where like things just don't go right. You put something in the wrong place and just couldn't find it. And I mean, I left my water cup at the office on Friday and it just threw my whole morning off. And I drank like a 40 ouncer of ice water first thing in the morning. Then I fill it up again and take it with me. And I spent like 45 minutes searching for it. And then I gave up and then got to the office like, golly, there it is sitting there. And it's just throwing my whole morning off. And time change, I mean, it's dark when I woke up. I was like, ugh. Still want to go sleep. And I tell you. Anyway, welcome to the party. Looks like bull versus bear. Who's going to win? We hit the resistance. We hit that target that I've been looking for gosh, good long while. And look at this. Bitcoin, 72,000, less than 40 days left to having, about 5,800 blocks roughly. And thought I'd show this. This is kind of cool. You ever wonder how the transactions get lumped into the blocks? Here you go. This is how it works. Here's the transactions. You can see blocks of transactions, and these are actually blocks of bytes that people want included into the block that gets mined out, and you pay. You vote with your money how many satoshis you're willing to contribute to the pool to get your transaction verified. And you can see kind of the rate there, the fee rate, 13, that one that I have a finger on, 13.9 satoshis per virtual byte that would take up in the block. You see this little red one down here. They're willing to pay 230 satoshis per virtual byte in the block. So that one's almost definitely going to get included in the next block. And you see the rates all, go up and down. This one had somebody that paid 882 satoshis per virtual byte to get included. And look at that, 2 blocks back to back, 7 minutes ago, almost exactly right on the less than a minute apart. And sometimes in here, yesterday, like I was watching, and we had one that went almost 45 minutes between blocks. I mean, no transactions got verified on Bitcoin in the blockchain for 45 minutes. So the transactions piled up like crazy out here. And as you can roll over and see, there's like 116,000 transactions that don't want to pay very much. And they're just sitting out here waiting. And, you got to pay the going rate if you want included in the blocks. Yeah, otherwise, you're going to be way out here waiting indefinitely. So it's kind of interesting how Bitcoin works. And if you want to see this page, mempool.space, and you may like .space. What kind of web address is that? It's mempool.space right there. And it's kind of interesting. If you're interested in how the blocks work, there's all your blocks as they get mined. And we can have 2 back to back. Average has been 9.5 minutes. We're actually running slightly ahead of schedule. We're 88 blocks ahead of the 10-minute pace. In 2 days, we're going to readjust the difficulty. Looks like we're going to go up almost 6% on the difficulty. And there you go. There's kind of the rate and the memory usage of the blocks. And I mean, it's kind of interesting stuff if you're into the nerdy aspect of how blockchain and Bitcoin works. But when we talk about blocks being mined, here's the blocks, the block of transactions. And these transactions will get authenticated. And then that block, when it's authenticated, it's part of the blockchain. And these blue ones are the blockchain. They're the ones that have been verified. And you can see what pool wins, like Ant Pool right here. Ant Pool that's actually the people I worked for here in Knoxville. They I guess kind of sort of, own this pool or run this pool or participate in this pool somehow. All their equipment had Ant written on it. So there you go. And you can see their hash rate climbing and climbing. And, anybody can participate in their pool if you pools aren't necessarily limited. You can have private pools, you can have public pools, but pools aren't necessarily limited to just the people. They have deals. This one's been on a pretty constant swing up here. Relatively new pool, only 2021, and so there you go. You wonder who gets the blocks right there, and if you come back through here, there'll be some that just say unknown, like an unknown miner mined out those blocks right there, both those two blocks, and it wasn't necessarily the same unknown miner. That miner has quite a bit of, has 31 exahash in hash rate for that unknown miner. That sounds like Mara, kind of. It may be where Mara's actually where they're actually working there. So anyway, all right. So if you wondered how this works, you wonder how you dive in, how you find out. And see, we've already had 11 minutes between blocks, and we're actually running a little long now. So, and on the average, since we mine 2 blocks back to back, it may take 20, 30, 40 minutes for that next block to get found, to get solved. So if you like this kind of stuff, let me know. If you're just like, this doesn't interest me at all, let me know too. But that 39 days coming up quickly. Now, another thing, fear and greed. Check this out. We've dropped out of the extreme greed down to just greed on Friday. It's kind of interesting, if you ask me. This is just on CNN. I guess Bank of America runs their own. And before we get into trades, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, and it is not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. And another thing I worked on this weekend, just to show you all, I'm always, look at this, I coded up, let's see if I can pop this up full screen. I coded up some stuff that was searching through. These are, I searched 60 or 70 different patterns in the markets. And these are 5-minute candles going back to, 2005, all the way up to current. I searched 5-minute candle patterns. I searched, dozens and dozens of these. It actually took my my Ryzen 9 laptop 3 days to go through the entire set of patterns that I set up for it, looking for high probability patterns in the market and trying to find some stuff that worked better. So always looking for the next thing to show you all. So this presentation is, is that entertainment factor. Don't buy or sell anything. Don't buy stuff from me. Don't buy stuff from other gurus unless you trust me or the other person. And don't buy stocks. Don't buy options. Don't buy forex. Don't buy futures. Don't buy cryptos. Don't buy bonds. Don't buy treasuries. Don't long them. Don't short them. Don't trade them. It all involves a substantial risk of loss. And if you need to be told what to do, you need that personal financial advice. You got to hire and consult a financial advisor, but make sure you trust them too. Most people out there just out there to take your money, make some of your money into some of their money, and they don't give a crap about you. Hate to say it that way, but that's the truth of the world. And today, kind of benign on economic news right there, Monday. Doesn't even highlight very clearly. Tomorrow, CPI, before the open. This has traditionally been a market mover. Caution, caution, caution. We may see some volatility tomorrow. Then Wednesday, we're seeing not a lot. And then Thursday, we get PPI, which and that core retail sales, which is probably more important. So those are coming out Thursday. Then Friday, we have Empire State and then consumer sentiment while the market's open. And coming up the week after that, dun, 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 we have the FOMC meeting next week. Should be interesting. Are they going to keep rates the same? That's kind of the expectation at the moment. March was supposed to be the big cut month, right? But right now, not looking like we're going to do any cuts, maybe even rate raises. So how does that all play in? We'll have to see. But DGS2 just kind of holding in there and actually creeping up a little bit on the 2-year constant maturity rate. Creeping up just a little bit. Fed funds rate in orange right up here. a year ago, back in February a year ago, I kind of speculated that we may go sideways for a period, and that's kind of what we're doing. And then we may see DGS2 pick up, cross back above the orange, and then the Fed have to chase them higher again before we get to the ultimate financial crisis. So far, that might actually play out. That was the scenario that nobody was talking about. But what if it plays out? What do you think that's going to do? This put a hurting on the market. But the other way to look at it, raising rates are actually bullish. They're raising rates and the economy's running hot, right? If they have to raise rates more, it means the economy's running hot more. Interesting way to think about it, right? That's not the way mainstream media sews this thing. They're like, oh, rate cuts make the stock market explode. No, rate cuts usually are because something bad's going on. And that's usually the problem. You know, we've got a problem and we're cutting rates and we're trying to put band-aids on, you know, lost limbs with the interest rate. So keep it in mind, cutting rates is not typically bullish. And cutting, you know, why would they cut rates? Think about it. Why would they cut rates? You know, historically, we've kept rates pretty dang high all through periods of growth. Only recently have we had zero interest rate policy. And we've been epically low on the zero interest rate. Now, we're growing it. And we may go even higher. All right, moving on. S&P 500. I don't know why that chart does that. We kind of came up to the target. And the three different pathways. We either go sideways, right here. And we're in this channel here. So we could just keep going in the channel, which would be moving on up to the 1618. We could break out of the channel and just hover sideways for a little bit, then potentially pop. Or given a few days, we may drop back to the breakout level. That was the all-time high from back in 2022, back here. And if we break below that, we may go on a deeper, faster retrace. So caution right now. We could get a few more squiggles. Not sure. When we dive into the ES and the actual futures. So why do I use futures? Futures trade basically around the clock. And we're getting a little bit of negative reaction here. And we're actually probably going to fill that gap. What the fudge muffins? Jumping around. Oh, Beto. Look at that. So we rolled over the contract for ES last week. ES runs in monthly or quarterly contracts. We actually basically filled that gap. Typically, we see that gap fill on the contract rollover. Let's go. Let's take a diversion a second. Dun, 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 dun. Right up to the target. Holy fudge muffins. I wonder. 33, 35 above that. Just on that little flash of a pullback right there last Tuesday. Crazy stuff, man. I love how these patterns just work over and over. It was a smaller time frame market roadmap bounce. Turn off the extended hours. Reload, recalculate. Come on. There it goes. I guess it was smaller than that one. There we go. 5-minute bounce. Right up to the target. Beautiful. Oh, there it is. There's the bigger bounce. That's probably a 1 hour. Man, talk about slow today. Must be everybody and their mother on here. I gotta check my Bitcoin. Anyway, there you go. 30-minute. Right up to the target. And that 5-minute worked too. Oh, all right. If you want that roadmap line, link is in the description. Works on all time frames. I typically use it on the daily time frame, but there you go. There you go. All right, moving on. Let's see what else we got. S5FI. Looks like we're going back for the 80. Going to double tap. Stock's above the 200-day. Maybe we break out at 80. Be interesting. And 20 actually tagged that 80 level. That's what I thought we might do before we rolled over again. Pop up, tag it again, and then drop out. NQ, getting a little bit more sour. Got to clean these charts up. There's just too much stuff on here. So we're in this channel at this point. Riding the channel. Maybe like JT, that doesn't look like a channel. Here, let me put another line on there for you. There you go. Kind of running in the channel here. We break out. We're probably coming down to the roadmap line at the minimum on the daily. And could go deeper. This is one of the biggest, strongest, fastest moves up from this October low. We haven't touched the roadmap line since. And typically we go touch it quite often. Touched it here, touched it here. And when we get far away from it, we typically churn a little bit till we come back and touch it. Then we go on a run again, churn till we touch it. But if we break through, like what happened up here, back test from the below, back test from below, back test from below, back test from below, until we can turn the tides again. Russell. That was the higher high. Almost to the... Oh, man. This one can roll really hard. We're in this little... Again, in this kind of channel thing that we started back here in January. And this one can roll off hard. Really hard. Oil is trying my patience. Right back in the box. Right back in the middle of the box, even. Golly, man. Right on the roadmap line. If we hold that and bounce, I expect we're going to see at least 83. If we don't hold that, if we break back below this zone around 76 and get below this channel, probably going to come on down here. Oil being a finicky beast. Gold has broken out, getting a little red candle so far today, but I do expect that one to go on a massive extension. We may actually come back and retest this breakout level. We topped out in December and then broke out just last week. May come back, test that again before we can get an extension higher. Bitcoin going for the upside targets. Just amazing. I just need to pop up to the index. Show you the targets here. Look at these numbers. Ridiculous numbers. And it depends on if you put it on logarithmic or not. Yeah, we could be looking for something around 83, 101 if we're not logarithmic. If we are logarithmic, we could be looking at 102, 102,000, 170,000. Ridiculous numbers. Now, are we going to do that before halving? Doubtful. We are in a FOMO squeeze period, though. And what does FOMO do for you? Well, we don't have to go far. That's what FOMO looks like. It can be crazy. Everybody tells you you're wrong. You know, guess what? This thing it can keep going forever. And like this, you know, hope, optimism, belief. I believe, man, we're all gonna, you know, everybody's gonna get rich. We're all gonna be rich, and then you get some complacency. This thing just needs to cool off a little bit for the next rally, and then it rolls over. And this is the pattern we see all the time on these FOMO type situations. And you don't know what FOMO is? Fear of missing out. If you didn't get your piece, people buy like crazy, and then all of a sudden the party's over. One day, and we don't go higher again. Happens all the time. It's happening right here, happening on NVIDIA, happening on... And we don't go higher until we correct it back out. So Bitcoin, Maybe like, that's not a FOMO rally. Well, yeah, it is. And we do this every halving. You can see it right there. You can see it right there. You can see it right here. And you can even see it at the beginning. Big rally, 70% retrace. Big rally, 70% retrace. Big rally, 70% retrace. It doesn't look like 70%, but look, there you go. High to low, 80%. Look at that. It's because I got it in log mode. We're going to do it again. The numbers could be way on up here, but then we're going to retrace 70, 80%. Happens every time. Every time. It's foretold in this pattern right here. It's human psychology that does this. Like, we as herd animals make that pattern all the time in the market. It's just how we operate. Everything that goes crazy, we correct it back out. Going to go crazy again. We're going to correct it back out. It's kind of like it has to happen. Ethereum has a ways to go, still like 17% to get to all-time highs. And we're probably set up to at least get to 7,500 at this point. Probably set this baby up to at least get to 7,500. Right there. That's the next extension. Dollar churning us a little bit on the breakdown. We broke down below those lows from January, February, and we'll probably retrace this a little bit before we push on down. At this point, I do expect 99. You'd be like, how do you trade the dollar? Well, you can trade it with UUP or there's several other ways. FXY, FXE, FXB, all the different FX type ETFs. And if you have a Forex account, you can trade Forex. So that one looking like it's going to push on down into this 26, possibly even 25 area. MSTR just keeps rocking higher. It's craziness. The 1607 was the target, and looks like we just about tagged it today. Yeah, almost 1557. Coin, I had a 270 target. We tagged that on Friday. Looks like we tagged it again today. Ridiculous. Watch out for a pullback on this baby. Wouldn't surprise me. That is a 1272 extension. Yeah. So, looking at this bigger picture, let's rewind, retrace, rewind. Let's just clear everything at this point. Remove all drawings. I keep clicking on alerts instead of drawings. So, we did this giant pullback right here. We can only go back to the beginning of trading. That high, that low. We are now like we're right at the 618 level of that retrace. And we don't know what the history was back here, but I assume it started near zero. It came up, had a value of $400 a share. We retraced it back down to $30 a share. And now we just don't see that part of the chart because it was a private company back then. And now we're at the 618 level. We break above this, up above 300 or so, maybe have to get up to 350. We set the odds that we're 70% likely to go to 530, possibly 676 up there, or 670. Let's be conservative, 670. These tend to be fuzzy zones, not just definitive price levels. Tend to be zones. We see this all the time, how price comes up to a zone. Sometimes it comes short, sometimes it goes a little above. They tend to be zones, not just definitive numbers on the chart. So we've got this resistance that we're coming right up into, where we consolidated on the way down before we plummeted out. We may run into some supply that's been long. They were buyers here and they held all the way through the bottom, and they may be willing to get out. So we may find that supply when we come up in that zone. Be careful chasing coin, but there's There's leverage ways to play. CONL. If you just want to buy some shares that are leveraged long, right there. Get some crazy upside. If you want to get paid along the way, CONY. The yield max. Covered call option income strategy. Right there. I'd go look at the prospectuses, not just chase these. I don't tend to play a lot of ETFs, but just letting you know different ways to play. And this one, throwing up alerts this morning. BitX. I had upside targets up to 63 right up here. Tagged my, on that last pullback from last Tuesday, we just tagged my 1272 extension at 58, right as the market opened. You know, I was conservative again, put my alert at 58, tagged it before the market opened, pulling back just a little bit. And now the next one up here at 63. And that was on down the list there. All right. LIN. Dun, 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 dun. Just look, same pattern, same crazy. Going exponential. One of these days, we're going to correct it back out. Go crazy, pull back. Now, I'm not saying this is nearly to the level that we're seeing on semiconductors, but watch out for the pullback. CHH. Wow. Choice Hotels. That just looks like choppy sideways. I would not want to get involved. We have a range we've established right there. Till we get out of that, there is no reason to play with that. PDD broke below the roadmap line. Could go on a deeper retrace here. I would be very cautious chasing PDD at this point. That was one heck of a move up. This thing may need a deeper move here. And I have alerts at 106 because that's 50%. And I have an alert down here at 97 because that's a 618 retrace of this move here. If we hold that and turn, that can be very bullish. If we break below that, odds are we're going to come on down back near the lows here from 22. So watch out for that. That could be a large retrace going back to those lows. I mean, we're talking about going from 115 down to like 35. And you may be like, well, you know, PDD, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, look at Baba. They still sell the crap out of it. I mean, there's like one of the largest retailers, you know, JD. These large retailers in China. Baidu, kind of like the Google of China. Just getting murderized here. So, Pinduoduo may take a slam. Pick. Kid Pick. I have no idea what these guys do. Apparel, footwear. Oh, man. Reverse splits are not bullish. I don't care. This is a meme pop. This is gonna come back. It's like 99% likely that we're gonna come back down here to lows after doing a reverse split. This is basically a dumpster fire chart. Just a matter of time. SCX popping up. Star it. Tools, huh? Interesting. Wonder. They don't have a normal. It's weird. Weird. They've been down for quite a while, so they're gonna have to break above this level up here before I would ever consider something that just like. But look at all the money you can make. Yeah, it's a pretty crap chart though. It can also go down and go out of business. And BitX, as I was saying, that's rocking up to the targets there. Looks like 63, my next upside target. BTCO, Bitcoin spot ETFs made the list here this morning. Popping on Bitcoin's pop this morning. And not much to say. I don't have enough candle data to do anything for most of these. EETH, going on the extension. This is, if you wanted a futures-based ETF for Ethereum, here you go. Hadn't been around very long, so we don't have all the history. Don't even have a roadmap line showing up. So I can't really do much on the projections. There you go. ARCB, it's another spot ETF, BKCH. GlobalX blockchain ETF. If you wonder what's in it, go look it up. And upside right there, 62. FBTC, Fidelity's Bitcoin spot ETF. GBTC, this one has some history. And it looks like we are set up to go on extension up here to 72, possibly 89. Right there. MEDS. I don't like anything involved in healthcare. I just don't. Medtech, biotech, anything the FDA is involved in makes this incredibly difficult to trade because, hey, we can just get something approved and denied, and people go on the hype and then get crushed. And that has a reverse split there and another one there. And that makes this essentially a dumpster fire. There's another one over there. Holy moly. 1,000 for one. Jiminy Christmas. 6 for one. This is dumpster fire land. 15 for one. Yeah. More likely for that to go out of business. And EXEL. These guys admitted to starting the fire in Texas. It's burning down like all of northern Texas and suffered last week. If there's going to be some liability on that, well, see what happens. That low to that high. We probably already knew this was going to happen. Right down to the 1618. That could be the bottom. It's kind of funny that the way this works. Even on. Look at that. That was a higher low. Just barely. Just barely. If it can break back above the roadmap line, that could go on extension. But at this point, I'm not messing with it. Decliners. Looky, looky, looky. Who made the top decliner list? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. Could be a couple years. I bet this goes back down to at least this level, if not on down lower. I'm just saying. Just saying. That's a very bubbly. That went on such a mega rally for no reason whatsoever. They do the same thing Dell does. I mean, they got nothing special. No reason to be that ridiculously high. No special deals with NVIDIA. No, there's just no reason for it. AVGO, probably going to come back to the roadmap line at some point here. AI5. Lilly, probably going to come back to the roadmap line at some point here. NVDA, probably going to come back to the roadmap line sometime here. Already started on a wicked retrace. Now, that one could rally on up and make itself the largest company in the land. 1250 would be, somewhere around 1200, 1250 would be that point. And let's see. Check this out. Infinity market cap, or just 8 market cap. You've got gold at 14 trillion, Microsoft at 2.997. It's actually come down off of 3 trillion. Apple has come down substantially after 3 trillion. NVIDIA climbing up 2.179 trillion. So there you go. That's the competition. They can move up that list. And then Bitcoin comes in Oh, Bitcoin moved above silver this morning. The Bitcoin market is now larger than all of silver, if you can imagine that. Only about 10 times more to go before we're bigger than all of gold on Bitcoin. Now, gold, interestingly enough, has historically been about 4 to 5% of global market assets. Right now, running a paltry 0.5% or something like that. So a 10x increase in gold, put that up in the 20,000s and rock that market cap up to $146 trillion. That'd be pretty wild. Anyway, there you go. If you didn't know this existed, there's another nugget of market wisdom for you. Alrighty. Crowd. That tagged the upside. We need to retrace at some point. Can it keep going? Sure. Upside targets up near 350. Well, we tagged 350 up near 420. Downside. Meta. We're going to grind it on up here. We're going to come back to the middle line, or we're going to go lower. So far, we're grinding up the top, going up the upper line. Same three patterns like I drew on the S&P 500 to start with, right there. Either going higher, going sideways, going lower. That's usually what happens after we hit the target. And the upside would be right up to here. And then odds are we're going to pull back. The odds increase dramatically that we're going to pull back the higher we go up the fib ladder, fib target ladder. Costco getting slammed down on Friday after trying to break out. May come back to the roadmap line. That would be my expectation. FNGU. I do expect that one to come back to the roadmap line. AMD. That was my optimistic target up there. We could see a major retrace on this baby, taking us back down into the 85 to 100 area. Like, whoa, that's like 50%. Yeah, watch out below. ARM probably going to come back down. That's the bubble pattern. It already made the look right over there. We already did this part, that complacency part. Watch out for the retrace. You see that, right? Everybody see it? Anybody not see that? Could it go higher? Sure, could. Everything's possible. That's the pattern, though. Spike up. We just need another rally. Crush. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Watch out. It's been a few years since I've seen these show up a lot. These show up all the time, though. Sometimes they're smaller. Sometimes they're bigger. It's a very similar pattern. See a pop, and then this consolidation, and this drop. Looks like it's doing it to me. SMCI, highly likely to do it also. BA, crushing on down. Yes, a plane lost a wheel, and then another plane did whatever and wrecked, and another plane did whatever. I mean, can't. Now, is it Boeing's planes falling apart that makes them, show up in the news, or is it the fact that the chart needs to go lower? So we hyper focus on that negative news. We needed a retrace after popping that target. I drew this giant blue arrow, and I didn't know a door was going to fly off. I didn't know a wheel was going to drop off. I didn't know a wreck was going to happen. I mean, we're on the way down. Once we get down in this zone, we can look for a bounce. Probably going to come on down to at least the 175 area, if not down into this 160 area. And there's NUE for echo traders, potential echo trade that I set up last week on the alert. MDB, we're not going to get into that on here. MDB breaking below the roadmap line. Watch out for a deeper retrace. We do have support right here. that level. And then there's a gap fill right there. So support there, but we could go lower. SAP needs a retrace. ANET needs a retrace. CRM needs a retrace. SOXX definitely needs a retrace. That one had a split. USD needs a retrace. SMH needs a retrace. That hit the target. TSM needs a retrace. AMAT needs a retrace. All these need a retrace, and it's not going to surprise me for them to keep making the list for a little while. XSD probably needs a retrace also. There's a lot of stuff on the... That's choppy sideways action. That was a corrective move. This looks like first move down, retrace, next leg down. And let's see, did we do the 618 retrace? We did. Exactly. This looks pretty dangerous. Will not surprise me one bit to see this move right down there. Could even go down to 45. Looks like that one's going to bust on down. QCOM did the move up and hit the resistance. And I would expect that to retrace at this point. Didn't retrace back here. Just rocked it right on up to the target. Why that target? That was basically the size of this wedgie consolidation thing, watermelon seed squeeze. When they break out, they tend to go the distance of the mouth of the watermelon seed squeeze, and that's what we did. So now, unknown what we do next, but retrace highly, highly likely. Retrace back down. ELF. Probably going to come back to the roadmap line. EQT. Ooh. False start. Bounce off the roadmap line. Oof, oof, oof. Let's see. That low, that high. And 30, 28. Down to 23 below that. ZS. Right back to the roadmap line. That's what I expect a lot of them to do right there. Now, this one has a pattern. Potentially go just a little bit further down here. 184, 169. Dell. Probably going to retrace that gap up. MU. Probably going to retrace back down to the roadmap line. Rio. There's so much stuff that looks like it's going to retrace that, and it's been all the leaders in the market. You know, all the semiconductor stuff was the leader in the last cycle. It looks like we're going to get a retrace. That's everything's setting up, and I've been talking about it for weeks, and it looks like we're finally about to get there. Do we do another squiggle higher, or does all this stuff follow through and we actually get the bigger down? That's the big question on my mind right now, and it's looking like we might actually go down. So Rio Tinto just sideways, like that's a lower high. That's just consolidating, choppy, garbage. Not even attempting to go higher. There's the support box. If we get below that, we could go substantially lower. Bias for the day is extreme caution. Extreme caution. We're potentially topped out here. That's we tag that. Look at that. Tag that 272. Craziness. Can't even believe it. Wild. Just remove all these targets because we hit them all. And I cannot remove a freaking oval when I try. I can move price levels without even trying, but I cannot remove freaking oval off the chart. we've broken back below. If we flush back below this consolidation from last week, watch out. So right there it is. Basically below about 50, 60. We get below about 50, 60. We're probably going on down. That's the bias for the day. Watch out for support. We're still bullish until we break support. Support right now, 50, 60. We get below that, watch out. That move can be played out, and we may start something bigger and deeper. Cannot stress that enough. One of these squiggles is going to be the last squiggle, and we don't have many squiggles left to go, I don't think. And there's the possibility that we could do a bigger correction and then go higher, but we need to correct this out. There's just not a huge potential path to go higher from where we are right now. It's like all sorts of potential echo trades firing off here this morning. All right, everybody. Be careful out there. Have a good day. The account you save may be your own. Remember, nobody's watching out for you but you. And it's not being wrong that costs you the money. It's staying wrong, all right? Have a plan. Know where you're getting out. Don't stay wrong. If you think about it. Like, you're like, I'm going to close the trade here. And then you're wrong. And you don't close the trade. And you stay in the trade. And then it gets worse. And it gets worse. And it gets worse. That's where it costs you the money. So don't stay wrong. Have a good day. I'll be in Discord. Link is in the description down below. Roadmap line. Buy for $5. Come hang out in Discord.